Hi everyone. In this video, I am going to do a review of a recent remake of an old piece from 2020. This is the remake and this is the original piece. And I mostly want to go over some fundamental points, some anatomy landmarks. So I hope you will find this video useful. This is the public version of the review because I am posting it to YouTube and social media. You can check the full video in my Patreon, and it's obviously uncensored for both pieces. Um, yeah, let's start. In this new one, I wanted to fix an alignment problem that I had with the original. Basically, the forearm was too short. How do you know if your forearm are too short? Well, you have to check the alignment of two landmarks. First is the wrist. The wrist should align to the top of the shoulder. In this one, you can check that that landmark does not check out. The elbow has to align with the last ribs. It's almost there. It's not as wrong as the alignment from the wrist. However, in the newer one, you can check that the ulna, which I am using as to be more precise with when I mean the wrist, does track back to the top of the shoulder. Okay, the elbow is more precisely aligned with the last ribs. So that's how you can check out the length of your forearms, okay? Another thing I wanted to add, and this is not related to fundamental aspects, but it was narrative. In the old one, it was just a pose. She was looking sexy, I suppose, but it was just posing for posing sake. And this one, it looks like an innuendo. The first impression, if you are looking from top to bottom, is something else. If you check the bottom, you can really tell what's that goo that she is trying to taste. It's obviously very how do you say that suggestive innuendo, but it has a narrative. It might not be super clever, it might not be witty, but at least it has something um, closer to a story. Okay, in the past one, it's just a pose. So I suggest you that you make an attempt to add narrative to your pieces. And obviously, by that, I don't mean you make a comic strip. You can do narrative very well with a single frame of a sketch illustration. And that makes your piece more interesting to the viewer. It catches the attention of the viewer for longer, and that translates to more followers, patrons, etc. So try to make an attempt at least to have some narrative. There are other elements you can take advantage, like a state of being, but narrative is almost always an attention grabber. Okay. Uh, on other points, let's see. The hand in the original, I had this hand, this almost a perfect profile. You are only seeing almost a single plane of that hand. It has some depth, of course, when you check the other fingers, but it's very flat, okay? In the newer one, you can check that I try to add depth not by adding shadow or details on the background, but by constructing the hand in a way that you can see the form of the hand. And if you were to simplify it, you will see that there are at least two main planes facing the viewer: the top plane of the hand, the dorsal side, and the lateral side. Sorry, the medial side. I wanted to say side, but that does not make much sense, obviously. But it's basically the side that's facing the inner body. Okay, that's why I use the term medial side. The lateral side will have been the one that's obstructed, that is on the other side. So it's a bit confusing with the anatomical terms, but I hope you can see that in short, you are seeing two planes to that hand. Okay. Another thing that's improved is that on the original sketch, I was not very aware. I was not taking into consideration gravity, because if that breast, the left one, sorry, is rolling to the side, you are going to have the sternum, the part on the middle of the rib cage, more more visible, because it's going to be less obstructed due to the fact that the breast is rolling to the side. Okay, in this one, you can check that one out. It's it looks more like it makes more sense. Okay, I know there is a bra, and in the nude version, it's looking more apparent. So it's a point that I wish I could make more clearer, but due to the platform restrictions, I can't. But I hope you get the idea that you have to take into consideration the gravity, what things get less obstructed as the things on top move away. Okay. Um, the let's continue with the rest, because there is a huge problem with the original, which is the position of the nipple. It's censored, of course, but I hope you can see that the nipple is way too on the bottom plane of that breast. It's almost like the breast has no volume. It's like a pancake. It's too flat, which does not make sense because of the shading. So it's like a contradiction. In the newer one, well, you're not going to see it, but there is a highlight that tells you that the nipple is on a more proper place. Okay, so be very aware that details can make or break the forms where they reside, where they are grounded. Okay, and in this case, in the original, making that nipple to positioning it near to the bottom, near to the bottom contour, does not make any sense. Okay. Um, let's see what else. The eye form of the original was something that was very shameful for me. To be fair with my past self, this was supposed to be a work in progress. It was not supposed to be a finished sketch, but even so, the initial foundation was not very good. Going back to the point, the eyelids should tell you about the spherical nature of the eyeball. In this one, they are way too flat, and this one is almost going to the other side. So they are not telling you there is an eyeball below, and that's very important, because going back to what I said about details, details tells you describes describes the nature of the forms where they are grounded. In the newer one, you can tell there is an eyeball there. You can see that this is an axis, this is another axis, and if I were to infer the nature of that eyeball, you will get something very close to the spherical nature of the eyeball. Okay. In the far one, you can tell that because you can cross an axis here. There is another axis here on the eyelid. And if you were to extrapolate a bit below that eyelid, you can create a sphere that is contained by the eyelid. So the eyelid traces back that form. Okay. Um, that's another change that I was very pleased with. And speaking of the eyes, there is another thing that I want to make a point, which is the plane of the eyes. In the original, um, you had like a flat plane, which, to be fair, there are some styles where you can get away with this. What I mean by flat plane, you can make an arc on top of the eyelids that is basically parallel to the plane. Okay, to a flat plane. Sorry. In the newer one, you're going to see something different. You're going to see that there is a plane for the eyes if you were to simplify it. However, and here is the interesting part. The eye sockets that are described by that arc are facing outwards. It's very subtle, and this is something that took me a while to recognize. But it makes a huge change on your faces. They make the faces more natural. Is that the eye sockets are facing outwards? It's not like they are parallel to the plane. And I hope you can see how that reflects on the final form of the eyes, because you are going to have an eyelid that follows that direction, and the other side you're going to have another eyelid that looks more organic, for lack of a better term. And yeah, that's something else that made a lot of change. Um, the silhouette was something else that I wanted to touch. In the old one, you had the spikes of the wings at the top of her head, uh, included on the shape of the head. What I mean by that is that these forms are included in the shape of the head. They are not standing out. Okay, the only thing that stands out is the outer parts of the wing, which can be okay. However, if you want to make stronger silhouettes, you're going to make details that break those forms or that are outside that forms. So in the newer one, I try to make a point to make those spikes, those pointy areas, outside of the shape of the head. Okay, you can see that very obviously here. They have their own shape. So when you are zoom out, uh, sorry, that shape stands out, that makes Morrigan more recognizable. And this is very important because if you are like me, that are very dependent on social media to attract new commissioners, patrons, followers, etc., you want to make the most of that shape identification, those stronger silhouettes, because you are just one part of many image in the feed of your potential followers. So if you can make a silhouette that's very strong, that stands out among others, you're going to be better off, I think. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, the lower and upper abs. And this is something that might differ from some bodies, but in this one, the upper and lower abs are not that well defined. Okay, you want to make your upper abs face downwards. That's why in the newer one, you have that value, that shadow shape that indicates that that section is facing downwards. That's what that shadow shape tells you, basically. And in the bottom area, you have a highlight shape that tells you that section faces up. Okay, so there is an encounter of planes here. It's basically, if you were to look at it in a lateral way, you're going to have something like this, okay? And that vertex is just your navel, basically. So if the body shape is proper, obviously I am not going to ask you to do this in a chubby lady. You're going to try to make a point of differentiating the upper abs from the lower abs, okay? Let's see what else. You can basically in the old one, you could see that there is an effort to make the head more angular, and which is okay, I think. But I wanted to make that angularization stronger in the newer one, and that's another reason why I move away the wings, because that boxy nature of the skull was not too apparent because of the wings. So with the wings outside of the shape of the head, you can see that those sides are more recognizable. You have the top side, uh, or let's not call them side, let's call them plane, because I am going to look very like a full saying side. So there is the top plane, there is the side plane, and there is the front plane. Sorry, that vertex did not match. Okay. So when you make a head, try to make at least two planes visible or two planes very apparent, if you wish. And that's basically it. I have other points, I have other notes, remarks, but those you can find in the Patreon version. And my Patreon is